Emma Carter stood behind the velvet curtain of the university auditorium, gripping her graduation cap so tightly her fingers hurt. Around her, dozens of nursing students laughed, hugged their families, and snapped photos with flowers pressed against their gowns. The air smelled like hairspray, perfume, and fresh roses. Everyone looked nervous but excited. Emma felt only nervous. Every few seconds, she peeked through the curtain toward the audience, searching for 4 familiar faces. Row 16, seats 11 through 14, reserved for her family, still empty. It's almost starting. Her friend Jasmine whispered beside her. Your family coming? Emma forced a smile. Yeah, they're probably just late. But even as she said it, her stomach twisted painfully. Her father had promised 3 times he would come. Her mother said she wouldn't miss it for the world. Her younger brother Tyler barely cared, but Emma still saved him a seat. She had spent 6 years fighting to reach this moment. 6 years balancing part-time jobs, overnight study sessions, unpaid internships, and mountains of student debt. There were nights she slept only 2 hours before heading to class. She skipped vacations, birthdays, and holidays because she was too busy working. All because she wanted her family to finally look at her with pride. Emma remembered being 17 when her father laughed after she announced she wanted to become a nurse. Nurses barely make money, he'd said while handing Tyler cash for baseball equipment. You should think more realistically, but Emma kept going anyway. Because deep down she believed one day they would see her worth. The ceremony music began, students lined up in pairs. Still no family. Emma quickly grabbed her phone and checked her messages. Nothing, no texts, no missed calls. No explanation. Her chest tightened. You okay? Jasmine asked softly. Emma nodded automatically, even though tears already burned behind her eyes. The ceremony started, and the graduates walked onto the stage one by one. Thunderous applause echoed through the auditorium as families screamed names and waved signs. Emma tried not to stare at the empty seats, but she couldn't stop. Every time another family stood cheering for their child, those 4 empty chairs felt heavier. Finally, the dean called her name, Emma Carter, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, graduating with honors. The audience clapped politely. No cheers, no whistles, no proud father shouting her name. Emma walked across the stage with shaking legs and accepted her diploma. She smiled for the cameras because she didn't want anyone seeing how badly her heart was breaking. When she stepped off stage, Jasmine's mother hugged her tightly. We're proud of you, sweetheart, she said warmly. That nearly shattered Emma completely. After the ceremony ended, graduates flooded the auditorium taking family photos. Flowers, balloons, laughter, happiness surrounded her from every direction. Emma stood alone near the wall, holding her diploma. She kept checking her phone. Still nothing. An hour later, she finally called her mother. No answer. She called again, straight to voicemail. By sunset, Emma sat alone outside the auditorium steps, while workers folded chairs and cleaned decorations around her. Then her phone buzzed. Dad. Relief flooded through her instantly. Dad, where are you? Oh, he said casually. We couldn't make it. Emma froze. What? Tyler had his regional baseball tournament today. We drove to Pittsburgh this morning. Emma couldn't even breathe for a second. You forgot my graduation. We didn't forget, he replied, sounding annoyed now. Tyler's game schedule changed last minute. You know how important this season is for him. Emma stared at the parking lot lights blurring through her tears. Dad, this was my graduation. You'll have plenty more achievements, he said dismissively. Tyler only gets one shot at scouts noticing him. In the background, she heard cheering and restaurant noise. They were celebrating Tyler, while she sat alone in her cap and gown. You could have at least called, Emma whispered. Oh, don't be dramatic, her father snapped. Your mother said you'd understand. Anyway, we'll celebrate later. Then he hung up. Emma slowly lowered the phone from her ear. The world around her suddenly felt painfully quiet. For years, she had convinced herself that if she worked harder, sacrificed more, achieved enough success, her family would finally choose her too. But tonight proved the truth she spent her whole life avoiding. They never would. And as Emma sat alone beneath the darkening sky clutching the diploma she fought so hard to earn, Something inside her finally began to break. 3 months after graduation, Emma finally stopped checking her phone every morning, hoping for an apology that would never come. Life had settled into a quieter rhythm now. She worked 12-hour shifts at St. Mary's Hospital, survived on coffee and energy bars, and spent her rare free evenings curled on her tiny apartment couch watching old sitcoms. The work was exhausting, but for the first time in years, Emma felt proud of herself without needing anyone else's approval. Her patients adored her, her supervisors trusted her, and slowly, the loneliness left by her family started hurting less. Until Thursday night, Emma had just returned home after a brutal shift in the emergency room. Her feet ached, her hair smelled faintly like antiseptic, and all she wanted was a shower and sleep. Then her phone rang. Dad. Emma stared at the screen in disbelief. He hadn't called once since graduation. Not on her first day at work, not on her birthday, not even when she mailed them a graduation photo. Her heart betrayed her anyway. Maybe this was it. Maybe he finally missed her. With nervous fingers, she answered. "Hello, Emma," her father said quickly, skipping any greeting. "I need a favor." The hope inside her dimmed immediately. What kind of favor? Well, he cleared his throat awkwardly. Tyler got himself into a little trouble. Emma leaned against the kitchen counter silently. Apparently, some things never changed. What happened? He crashed my truck. Emma closed her eyes. Is he okay? He's fine, but there's damage to another vehicle, and now the owner's threatening legal action. Insurance won't cover all of it because Tyler was speeding. Of course he was. Emma could already predict the next sentence before it came. We need $8,000. The number hit her like ice water. 8,000? You've got that hospital job now, her father continued casually. You're making decent money. Emma almost laughed from disbelief. She lived in a one-bedroom apartment with second-hand furniture and counted every grocery dollar carefully. Her student loans alone felt suffocating. Dad, I don't have $8,000 sitting around. Well, figure it out, he snapped. Tyler's future is at stake. Emma gripped the counter harder. Suddenly, memories flooded back all at once. Her college savings disappearing because Tyler needed baseball camp. Her parents missing her 18th birthday for Tyler's tournament. Emma working double shifts in college, while Tyler got handed gas money and new equipment every month. And then those empty graduation seats. Always Tyler, always. Why can't Tyler pay for it himself? She asked quietly. Her father scoffed. You know he's struggling right now. Emma looked around her apartment in disbelief. Struggling, Tyler still lived at home rent-free. Meanwhile, she worked herself to exhaustion just to survive independently. You're his sister, her father continued. Family helps family. Emma felt anger rising in her chest for the first time in years. Not sadness, not disappointment, anger. Did family help me at graduation? She asked. Silence, then an irritated sigh. Oh my God, Emma, you're still stuck on that. Her throat tightened painfully. You skipped one of the biggest days of my life, and you survived, he said coldly. Stop acting like a victim. The words cut deeper than she expected. Emma stood frozen in her tiny kitchen, while years of hurt finally rearranged themselves into clarity. Her family didn't love her conditionally. They loved what she could give them: money, support, sacrifice. But never the same in return. Emma, her father barked impatiently. Are you listening? She took a slow breath. No. What do you mean, no? I'm not giving you $8,000. The silence on the line became dangerously sharp. Excuse me, you heard me. Her father's voice darkened instantly. After everything we've done for you, Emma actually laughed this time. A bitter, exhausted laugh. What exactly have you done for me? That attitude is unbelievable. He snapped. We raised you, and I spent my whole life trying to earn love from people who barely notice me unless they need something. Don't start this dramatic nonsense again. But Emma wasn't crying anymore. For the first time in her life, she felt strangely calm. No, Dad, she said softly. I'm done. Then she hung up. Her hands trembled afterward, not from guilt, from freedom. A minute later, her phone exploded with angry texts from both parents accusing her of selfishness, betrayal, and abandoning family. Emma silenced the phone. Then she walked to her bedroom window and stared out at the city lights glowing softly in the darkness. For years she thought saying no would destroy her. Instead, it felt like finally breathing after being underwater too long. Emma expected anger after refusing to give her father the money. She expected guilt. What she didn't expect was war. By Monday morning, her phone was flooded with messages from relatives she barely spoke to anymore. How could you do this to your brother? Your parents sacrificed everything for you. Money shouldn't matter more than family. Emma stared at the texts during her lunch break at the hospital, feeling her stomach twist tighter with every notification. Her Aunt Linda even left a voicemail saying, "Your poor father is devastated. I can't believe you turned your back on them after all they've done." Emma almost deleted everything without responding. Almost, but after years of silence, something inside her had finally reached its limit. That evening, she sat on her couch with her laptop open and reread the long Facebook post her mother had shared publicly only hours earlier. Some of it made Emma physically sick. "We are heartbroken that our daughter abandoned her family during a difficult time. Success changed her. She refuses to help her own brother." Dozens of people commented with sympathy, prayers, support for her parents. Emma's hands shook as she read every word. Not because she was hurt anymore, because she was angry. For years, she had protected their image. She stayed quiet when they ignored her achievements. Quiet when they forgot birthdays. Quiet when Tyler borrowed money and never repaid her. Quiet when they skipped graduation. But now they wanted to paint her as the villain. Emma opened a blank post. At first, she only typed a few lines. Then the truth poured out all at once. She wrote about working 2 jobs through nursing school, while Tyler's baseball expenses drained the family finances. She wrote about paying Tyler's phone bill twice during college because her parents begged her to help him out. She wrote about sitting alone at graduation, staring at 4 empty chairs, while her family attended Tyler's game instead. Finally, she ended with one sentence. "I am not refusing because I hate my family. I'm refusing because I finally learned I deserve to stop being used." Her finger hovered over the post button for nearly a minute. Then she clicked it. Emma expected more attacks. Instead, her phone exploded with support. Old classmates commented about seeing her alone after graduation. A former neighbor wrote, "Honey, we always noticed how differently they treated you." Even relatives started messaging privately apologizing because they never knew the full story. By the next morning, her mother's original post had mysteriously disappeared, but the damage was already done. For the first time, people saw the truth, and Emma realized something powerful. Telling the truth felt better than protecting people who hurt her. Meanwhile, Tyler's situation only got worse. A week later, Emma heard through cousins that he'd lost his driver's license temporarily after additional speeding violations surfaced. Her father had borrowed money from friends to cover legal fees, and apparently several people refused after hearing Emma's side of the story. The family reputation her parents cared so much about was beginning to crack, but Emma no longer felt responsible for saving them. Instead, she focused on saving herself. At work, her confidence grew daily. Patients requested her specifically. One elderly woman squeezed Emma's hand after discharge and whispered, "You have the kindest soul I've ever met." Those words healed something deep inside her. Then there was Daniel. Emma first noticed him in the hospital cafeteria, almost a month after the family drama exploded online. He was helping his young daughter carry a tray, while somehow balancing 2 juice boxes and a stuffed rabbit at the same time. When one of the juice boxes fell, Emma instinctively bent to grab it. "Thanks," Daniel laughed warmly. "Single, Dad's survival skills still need work." His daughter Lily grinned shyly at Emma. Over the following weeks, casual cafeteria conversations slowly became longer. Daniel was kind, funny, and easy to talk to in a way Emma had never experienced before. Most importantly, he listened. Really listened. One night over coffee, Emma nervously told him about her graduation. Daniel looked genuinely heartbroken for her. "They missed that," he said softly. "Emma, that's awful. No minimizing, no excuses, no you're too sensitive, just understanding." And somehow that simple kindness meant everything. For the first time in her life, Emma began realizing revenge wasn't about making her family suffer. It was about building a life so full of peace, love, and self-respect that their rejection no longer had power over her. And slowly, beautifully, she was finally doing exactly that. 1 year later, Emma stood backstage in another auditorium. But this time, she wasn't alone. Laughter echoed around her as nurses and doctors adjusted their formal clothes and prepared for the hospital's annual Excellence in Care ceremony. A banner stretched across the stage with glowing gold letters, honoring those who changed lives. Emma still couldn't believe her name was on the list. After only a year at St. Mary's Hospital, she had been selected for the Compassionate Care Award, an honor voted on by both patients and staff. Her supervisor said the hospital rarely gave it to someone so early in their career. "You make people feel safe," her supervisor had told her proudly. "That can't be taught." Tonight, unlike graduation, someone had saved her a front-row seat filled with people who truly cared. Daniel, little Lily, Jasmine and her parents, several co-workers, even 2 former patients had come. Emma peeked through the curtain and spotted Lily waving excitedly while holding handmade paper flowers. Her chest tightened with emotion. This was what love looked like, not guilt, not obligation, not constantly proving your worth. Real love showed up. "Ready?" Daniel asked, suddenly appearing beside her backstage. He looked handsome in a dark blue shirt, but it was his smile that always made Emma's nerves disappear. "Not even close," she admitted nervously. He gently squeezed her hand. "You've already done the hard part." Emma smiled softly. A year ago, she would have spent this entire night wondering if her family might disappoint her again. Now, she barely thought about them anymore, mostly. As the ceremony began, Emma sat with the other award recipients while speakers shared emotional stories about nurses helping patients through fear, loss, and recovery. Then the announcer finally called her name, Emma Carter. Applause erupted through the auditorium. Real applause, loud, proud. Emma walked toward the stage, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. The spotlight felt warm against her face as she accepted the Crystal Award from the hospital director. Then the giant screen behind her lit up with messages from patients. "Emma stayed with me when I was terrified before surgery. She treated my mother like family. She reminded me kindness still exists." By the third message, tears blurred Emma's vision. The audience stood for a standing ovation. And suddenly, through the crowd, Emma noticed 2 familiar faces near the back row. Her parents. She froze for half a second. Her mother looked older somehow, the sharp confidence she once carried replaced by nervous uncertainty. Her father stood stiffly beside her with his hands folded awkwardly. Emma's stomach twisted. She hadn't spoken to them in nearly 8 months. After her public post, the family drama slowly faded. Tyler eventually moved out after more arguments about money, and relatives stopped pressuring Emma once the truth became impossible to ignore. Her parents had reached out a few times since then. Short messages, careful apologies. Emma never fully responded. Now they were here. For a brief moment, old pain threatened to return. The empty graduation seats, the ignored phone calls, the years of feeling invisible. But then Lily jumped up near the front row yelling, "That's Emma." The crowd laughed warmly. Daniel smiled proudly at her from his seat, and Emma realized something important. Her parents no longer controlled the room inside her heart. After the ceremony ended, dozens of people hugged and congratulated her backstage. Flowers piled into her arms until she could barely hold them all. Then slowly her parents approached. Her father looked uncomfortable, almost fragile. "We almost didn't come," he admitted quietly. Emma stayed silent. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "We should have been there last year." Those simple words carried more honesty than anything they had said in years. Her father swallowed hard before speaking again. "I spent so much time believing Tyler needed us more," he said. "I didn't realize what we were destroying with you." Emma stared at him carefully. For years she dreamed about this apology, imagined it 1,000 different ways, but standing here now, surrounded by people who genuinely loved her, she realized something surprising. She no longer needed it. "I'm still healing," she said honestly. Her parents nodded quietly. Then Daniel appeared beside her holding Lily's hand. "Ready to celebrate?" he asked gently. Emma smiled, a real smile this time. As she walked away with the people who had become her true family, she finally understood the sweetest revenge of all wasn't watching those who hurt you fail. It was learning to succeed without needing their permission to feel worthy.